Moving on now to this heart-wrenching story coming to light from Noida, where a pregnant woman was denied admission by 6 hospitals, and after struggling, waiting in the ambulance for 13 hours, when finally she was to be admitted to a hospital, the pregnant woman died.
पहले अपनी वाइफ को ईएसआई लेके थे, ईएसआई वालों ने बोल दिया कि जाके सेक्टर 30 ले आओ। सेक्टर 30 वाले कहने लगे कि वहाँ ले आओ, क्या नाम है, शारदा में। शारदा के बाद फिर जिम्स ले गए। जिम्स वालों ने मना कर दिया कि हमारे पे कोई बेड खाली नहीं है। फिर घूम करके हम फोर्टिस आए, फोर्टिस वालों ने मना कर दिया। फिर हम वहाँ पर आए, क्या नाम है, उसमें मैक्स वालों ने भी मना कर दिया कि हमारे पे बेड नहीं है। तो कुल मिला के फिर हमारी एम्बुलेंस में डेथ हुई थी। फिर जिम्स में लास्ट में पहुँचे, फिर उन्होंने वेंटिलेटर वगैरह लगाया, लेकिन उससे कोई फ़ायदा नहीं हुआ।
की जांच अपर जिलाधिकारी वित्त राजस्व और मुख्य चिकित्साधिकारी करेंगे। अगर किसी ने लापरवाही की है, सख्ती से कार्रवाई करेंगे। कोई भी अगर दोषी है तो बख्शा नहीं जाएगा। चिकित्सा विभाग को संवेदनशील रहते हुए कार्य करनी चाहिए, और जितने भी निजी चिकित्सालय भी है तो उनमें भी अत्यंत संवेदनशील रहते हुए कार्य करनी चाहिए। और काफ़ी हॉस्पिटल्स बहुत अच्छा काम भी कर रहे हैं, बट जब ऐसे घटनाएं होती हैं, यह बहुत ही इट लीड्स टू सेल्फ इंट्रोस्पेक्शन फ्रॉम हॉस्पिटल्स ऑल्सो कि ऐसे घटनाएं होनी नहीं चाहिए।
Let's go across to my colleague Vajula, who's joining us on the broadcast. 6 hospitals denied entry and admission to the pregnant woman who passed away after struggling for 13 hours, Vajula.
Well, every aspect in this story is sad, shocking. It's not just 6 hospitals, it's 8 hospitals that denied them permission. The authorities got to know incident late, and the result of which is a 6-year-old kid who has lost his mother. Now we are joined in by the family members of this family, and let's speak to them and find out what is the reason why they were rejected in all these 8 hospitals. आप लोग 8 हॉस्पिटल्स गए थे पता करने, और आप लोगों को 8 हॉस्पिटल में भी मना कर दिया गया, क्यों?
ये कहीं भी ट्रीटमेंट दे नहीं रहे थे। सबसे पहले हम लोग ईएसआई हॉस्पिटल लेके गए। ईएसआई में ले जाने के बाद तो उन्होंने थोड़ी देर रखा। उसके बाद जिला हॉस्पिटल है सेक्टर 30 में, जिला हॉस्पिटल जो है वहाँ पर वहाँ भी उन्होंने भगा दिया हमें। उसके बाद हम लोग गए शिवालिक हॉस्पिटल, वहाँ भी कोई रिस्पॉन्स नहीं, कोई बच्चे को ट्रीटमेंट नहीं किसी, मतलब मेन दिक्कत थी कि आप बच्चे को ट्रीटमेंट चाहिए था, प्रेगनेंट लेडी थी, बच्चा होने वाला था, पूरा टाइम चल रहा था, तो दिक्कत उसको ज़्यादा हो रही थी।
लेकिन क्या बोल के मना किया? इतने हॉस्पिटल्स में कोई क्या कारण क्या दिया आपको? सरकारी
हॉस्पिटल में ले गया जो मैं सेक्टर 30 में है, वहाँ मुझसे पूछा गया कि आप कहाँ से आए? मैंने गाजियाबाद से, खोड़ा कॉलोनी से आया हूँ मैं, और ईएसआई से रेफ़र हुआ है। तो बोले आप ले जाइए इसे, फटाफट ले जाइए यहाँ से, बाहर गेट से ही, ना देखा ना कोई ट्रीटमेंट, मतलब ले जाइए फटाफट इसको, यहाँ कोई जगह नहीं है गाजियाबाद वाले खोड़ा के लिए, गाजियाबाद लेके जाइए। तो जी हम वहाँ से क्या करते, झगड़ा तो कर नहीं सकते थे। फिर वहाँ से लेके गए शिवालिक हॉस्पिटल, जहाँ 4 दिन उसका इलाज चला, ट्रीटमेंट चला था वहाँ पर बीपी का। उसके बाद वहाँ भी नहीं लिया उन लोगों ने, बोले सीरियस है कहीं भी ले जाओ। फिर सेक्टर 62 फोर्टिस हॉस्पिटल लेके गया मैं, वहाँ भी उन लोगों ने इमरजेंसी में कहा हमारा बेड खाली नहीं है, आप कहीं भी ले जाओ, बहुत सीरियस पेशेंट है, कभी भी दोनों मर सकते हैं कभी भी। उसके बाद फिर लेके गए जेपी 128 हॉस्पिटल, वहाँ भी उन्होंने कोई ट्रीटमेंट नहीं दिया पेशेंट को। उसके बाद शारदा ले गए, शारदा के बाद फिर जिम्स ले गए। जिम्स में भी हमसे यही कहा गया कि बेड खाली नहीं है। हमने कहा रेफ़र कर दीजिए अगर किसी हॉस्पिटल में, बोले हम रेफ़र नहीं कर सकते हम। मैंने कहा आपका सरकारी हॉस्पिटल कर दीजिए, उसमें क्या दिक्कत है। उसके बाद फिर मैक्स हॉस्पिटल लेके गए, जब बहुत ज़्यादा दिक्कत हो गई पेशेंट को। वैशाली सेक्टर 1 में मैक्स हॉस्पिटल है।
Well, that was the ordeal of the man who lost his wife, pregnant woman, after being denied admission in almost 6 hospitals. Let's open this up and go across to our guests. We're joined by Dr. K.K. Agarwal, President of Heart Care Foundation. He is also the former National President of the Indian Medical Association. We also have with us Dr. Kaushal Kant Mishra, Senior Consultant, joining us on the broadcast. Good evening to both of you. Let me first go across to Dr. Agarwal. This is heart-wrenching, heartbreaking ordeal that we just heard from a man who has lost his wife, who struggled for 13 hours. A pregnant woman struggled for 13 hours, waited in that ambulance because she was denied entry in 6 hospitals. What a pathetic state of affairs.
This is absolutely unpardonable. Proper action has to be taken. This is unacceptable, unpardonable at any level. In no hospital you can say that we don't have a bed for emergency. You have to create bed. Whatever you do, you have to create. You have to create a facility. These types of instances where you say for an emergency we don't have a bed is not acceptable. You take them. It is your responsibility to make a bed available in some other hospital. So if I am running a hospital, if a patient comes, I don't have a bed, it is my responsibility to arrange a bed in some other hospital and shift that hospital to, there are n number of legal judgments available where hospital cannot shed the responsibility by saying, a serious patient, I don't have a bed, take it away. I think this is a matter of serious concern, number one. Number two, in the Corona and COVID era, I think the time has come for a uniform policy and a uniform health structure across the country. We can't have compartmentalization of this is Ghaziabad, this is that. No way. There has to be a uniform health infrastructure, uniform policies, uniform standards, uniform procedures. I think this has to be done. In the COVID era, everything is changing. Health should also change. Even in COVID, we are seeing hospitals fighting, states fighting, my state, your state. It's a national state. I mean, it's a time for health to be incorporated at a national level under a same guideline, same principle. Nowhere you can say we will not allow Ghaziabad patient, Ghaziabad saying I'm not going to allow Gurgaon patient. It's India. It's one India. So therefore, it's not like it police that this SHO is different, this SHO is different, my jurisdiction is not there. In health, there is nothing like a jurisdiction. There has to be a uniform healthcare infrastructure. Minimum standards should be the same. Magnitude of care may differ, but standard of care has to be the same at every one given place. 13 hospitals, 13 hours, 6 hospitals denying. I think it's a matter of concern. Inquiry should be held properly and all 6 hospitals should be put into
absolutely. As far as that policy making or policy changing is concerned, that is going to come in from either the state government or the center if you're talking about a universal policy for the country. But yes, an investigation is going to be done now, Dr. Kaushal Kant, and of course the doctors or the hospital administration is going to be reprimanded. We are all waiting to hear of an action like that. But what about the life lost?
As Dr. Agrawal has very well stated that it is unacceptable at all. Every hospital should have a facility to take care of any patient who is coming in emergency, and no hospital can refuse any emergency. If any hospital is refusing any emergency, nobody can save, no law, nothing can be done. The hospital should be penalized if the hospital is not taking care of emergency. There is nothing else. We cannot do anything. Nobody can do anything, because as a doctor, as a hospital worker, it's our primary responsibility to save the life of emergency patient. Temporarily you should have some facility where you take care of emergency, then you can arrange some other. If your hospital is not equipped, you can refer that hospital after arranging some other place, but you cannot refuse any patient who is in emergency. It's a rule of law. There is nothing else.
Right. Now, Dr. Agarwal, of course, we understand that the healthcare workers are burdened. We understand that the health staff at the hospitals, the hospital administration, we are all overburdened at this point in time because of the influx of COVID-19 patients and other patients as well. But like you said, these facilities will have to be created at these very hospitals. This is not an isolated incident. Many patients were turned away from hospitals because some were demanding COVID negative certificates. Some said, you will have to go to a neighboring hospital. And that's how the patients and their family members have been struggling. This is not an isolated incident.
I agree with you. It is not an isolated incident. Therefore, uniform policy needs to be there. Every state has a different policy. That why should you need a COVID negative certificate? I mean, that policy needs to be challenged. We have a policy coming up in Delhi High Court on the same ground. I mean, you are putting down every state has a different guidelines. How can it happen? When there is a COVID era, it has to be a uniform policy.
I mean, I'm not been able to understand why the Prime Minister of India has not yet declared COVID as a public health emergency of a national concern so that every state follow a uniform standard formula. Why can't we fix the prices for everything? Why the Disease Epidemic Act, Essential Commodities Act has not been enacted in the treatment? Why we are fixing the charges of lab and not fixing the charges of the treatment? You fix the charges of the treatment, COVID or no COVID, in COVID era, this is what you have to follow. Why do you require a COVID negative? Do you think that test is 100% reliable? A COVID negative female can still be COVID positive. So this guideline that for a pregnancy you require a COVID negative in an emergency is not acceptable, because COVID report cannot come in 2 days. By that time the patient will die. So this policy that you need a COVID negative to be admitted in a non-COVID hospital for a pregnancy needs to be challenged, because this is being made without using the brain, number one, not without using the mind, and number two is those who are interpreting can interpret it. Actually they have to use their mind to interpret it. You cannot have a lady coming with an emergency and you say that you bring a COVID test with the report which will come after 2 days. It is something, it reminds me of a long time back in a hospital. A patient came with a TB of the brain and he says, 2 years back you gave me an admission date. So we were lying unconscious for the last 2 years at our home. Now we are coming. This is stupid. I mean, how can you have a policy interpretation? Right. Patient is serious, patient is dying. You say you come after 48 hours with the report. This is ridiculous.
A coordinated effort. It will have to be a coordinated effort on part of everybody.
Absolutely.
Of course, the responsibility is of the government at this point in time. Yes, but what about our top premier, medical bodies? That is what I want to understand from you, Dr. Kaushal Kant. Why aren't these suggestions coming in from their end? Is there, at this point in time, no analysis of how patients who are not COVID-19 positive are suffering at the hands of such negligence of the hospital administration? Because, of course, there's a inflow and a rush of these COVID patients who are coming in, and maybe they are extremely burdened.
In my opinion, first, there is no need of any extra law, because it is already established rule. If anybody is not following, they should be penalized. This is one. But there is a mess right now because of COVID thing. In my opinion, every state government or central government should declare few hospital as a COVID hospital in every city, every place where the population is gathering or any larger population there, and that criteria should be implemented across the country. Means if in Delhi, I am saying it should not be mixed. Yes, it should not be mixed, but there should be two separate type of hospital. One is COVID treatment hospital, one is non-COVID treatment hospital. But mind it, by the time you are taking care of emergency, no patient can be shifted without taking care of primary emergency. In my opinion, what is Delhi government currently doing is mixing 20% and 80%. In my opinion, it is not acceptable. In my opinion, it should be 100% COVID hospital and 100% non-COVID hospital. But yes, you should have a COVID area in which 24-hour to 48-hour waiting time should be there, where till the time patient is not getting the bed in some other hospital.
From Noida, but yes, you are right. There are several such incidents being reported from across the country, and yes, we are at this point in time at a stage where we've crossed the 2 lakh mark. So what is unfortunate is that we're still bickering, still fighting on what our policy should be, what our approach should be in the present situation. That is the most unfortunate part. Thank you very much, Dr. Agarwal, and thank you very much, Dr. Kaushal Kant Mishra, for joining us with your perspectives on the broadcast. Well, moving on now, after a number of seismic shocks in the capital, there are discussions going on and there are concerns being raised on whether this is an indication of a bigger earthquake coming. Take a look at this report.
After 3 seismically quiet years, 11 earthquakes shaking the national capital in the last 53 days. Recurrent tremors adding to the fear and panic as residents sit at home trying to protect themselves from the deadly coronavirus. Another worry for the centre and Delhi government amid the ongoing crisis. With multiple tremors in Delhi and NCR, top geologists of the country are raising concerns, saying that a major earthquake may rock the region very soon. They say that there is a consistent seismic activity around the NCR region, and these low-intensity tremors indicate a major earthquake. If these warnings turn out to be true, Delhi might be in trouble because it falls under the high-risk seismic zone, and an earthquake of a high magnitude could lead to devastating consequences. The Delhi Disaster Management Authority says that there are some pockets in the capital that have buildings which are not earthquake resistant, and unplanned settlements and substandard structures are prone to heavy damage. While some experts have termed these microtremors as a warning sign, others call it a premature statement.
My feeling is that these are very premature statements. Definitely these are some strain release activities, but that doesn't mean that it will give a very big earthquake. We have to analyze the detailed strain pattern of these areas. JSI, in fact, established a number of GPS permanent stations pan-India. We are on the process to find out the strain build-up areas, and from these releases, we feel that there are some strain build-up areas.
Delhi has not witnessed such tremors since 1960, and some of these are the worst in 55 years. Bureau Report, Times Now.
Well, that's all we have for you in this special edition of the News Hour. We're taking a very short break, but news and updates continue on the other side. Stay with us.